Lately, I've watched a lot, and I mean a lot, of horror reality TV shows. I wanted to compile a top 10 list, so I dove into a bunch of different subgenres like paranormal, UFOs, ghost hunters, true crime, cryptid sightings, and more. Remember, this is my top 10 list, and yours will be different for sure, but I thought this would be a fun way to share some of the shows I watched. I also included all of the shows that didn't make my top 10 in the description, so you can check them out for yourself. So let's take a look at the top 10 horror reality TV shows. Before we get into the top 10, here's an honorable mention worth checking out. Paranormal Investigators, Phasmophobia. Medium and presenter Andrea Caldi takes us through some of Australia's most haunted locations. She introduces new people in each location to undergo a paranormal challenge. Accompanying Andrea is a team of ghost hunters, eager to investigate any signs of supernatural presence. It's an interesting twist on the typical ghost hunter show. On to the top 10 countdown. Number 10. Paranormal Caught on Camera. Paranormal Caught on Camera has a panel of experts that analyze footage from some of the world's most eye-opening and terrifying paranormal videos. From poltergeist activity to lights in the sky, these first-hand accounts just might turn skeptics into believers. Actual video footage is the main focus, along with details from the eyewitness, and additional comments and insights from paranormal investigators and experts. Paranormal Caught on Camera aired on the Travel Channel from 2019 to 2022 for 6 seasons and 135 episodes. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, Destination Unknown, Max, and the Roku channel. This show has a wide variety of subject matter and locations. Each episode has numerous short stories, up to 8 per episode, so you get to see a lot, and stories aren't dragged out to fill time. Sometimes the experts seem to just be saying stuff to sell the story or add drama. Some of the stories can be easily debunked and could be a hoax. You can also tell the experts recorded many episodes in a single day based on their wardrobe. An interesting show thanks to the variety of subject matter, but the believability of the events varies greatly. Number 9. My Horror Story. Ordinary people share their chilling, true tales of surviving the unknown. From hellish possessions and blood-drawing spirits to alien abductions and otherworldly creatures, these brave storytellers are shaken to the core as they recall their grave encounters with dark paranormal forces. It's a wild, horror-filled ride through the supernatural. There are 2 stories per episode. Real people tell their story, along with stock footage reenactments and text narration. My Horror Story originally aired on the Travel Channel in 2019 for 1 season of 10 episodes. It's currently streaming on Max and Discovery Plus. I like that they have real people telling their story. You get to see some real emotion as they recall these harrowing events. The stories are interesting, and there's a variety of subject matter. I will give them credit for some creative editing, considering they are working with stock images and low-budget video clips. The dual story format is annoying. It would be okay if they told story A in the first half of the show, and then moved on to story B, but they flip-flop back and forth every few minutes. They also have too many recaps. Every time they change stories or come back from a commercial, there is a 30 to 45-second recap. They should have put some budget into reenactment scenes with actors that have speaking roles. There's just too much stock footage and out-of-focus shots of non-speaking actors. It's only worth a watch because the stories are good. There's nothing visually appealing about this show. It would be better as a podcast or to have on as a background show, since all you really need to do is listen to it. Number 8. My Paranormal Nightmare. Paranormal witnesses recall terrifying true tales of violent hauntings that have plagued their nightmares since childhood. Now adults, they go back in time to the horrific encounters with compelling and convincing first-person testimonies. Each episode portrays 3 stories told through personal interviews, reliving their horrifying story as their nightmare unfolds with dramatic recreations. Expert commentary helps to explain and make some sense of each phenomenon. Every story is unique in its retelling as they present the myriad of ghosts, poltergeists, demons, shadow figures, and elemental spirits from their haunted past. My Paranormal Nightmare began airing on Travel Channel in 2020 and has aired one season of 10 episodes. Travel Channel is currently showing reruns of Season 1, and it's also streaming on Amazon Prime. 3 stories per episode, told one after another, is a good format. It makes the storytelling concise and not drawn out to fill an episode. There's also a wide variety of subject matter to keep your interest. Unfortunately, sometimes the sound and visual effects are a bit over the top, just for dramatic effect. This is a fairly decent show worth checking out. It's too bad there's only one season. Number 7. Evil Lives Here. Evil lives here as individuals share their perspectives of loved ones who committed horrific crimes, and unfortunately, they just didn't see the warning signs until it was too late. While this show is more of a true crime show than a horror show, you can't deny the events described are scary as hell, knowing they are real-life facts and not open to interpretation. By and large, the eyewitnesses tell their story, with some reenactments, actual photos and audio recordings, as well as news footage and text narration. Evil Lives Here debuted on Investigation Discovery in 2016 and has aired 14 seasons of 136 episodes. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime and Max. The true crime stories are engaging and horrifying. That's why I included this series in a horror TV show countdown. It's not like other horror shows where you have to decide if you believe the story or not. These very scary stories actually happened. The casting is great. Actors look like the actual people, and the acting is quite good. The people telling their story can understandably get very emotional. This adds to the impact of the stories. I dislike text narration. I feel like if I look away from the action for a few seconds, I'm going to miss something. This is a very watchable series due to the engaging stories and high production value. Even though I'm not a big true crime fan, this show definitely got me hooked. Number 6. Evil Lives Here, Shadows of Death. Evil Lives Here, Shadows of Death. It's a true crime documentary that examines how the emotional impact of a homicide resonates with the victim's loved ones, long after the crime is committed. Friends and family, as well as police officers, detectives, and cold case investigators, tell stories from their perspective and how it affected them. There are also reenactments, actual photos, and audio recordings, as well as news footage and text narration. Evil Lives Here, Shadows of Death has aired on Investigation Discovery since 2020 and has 6 seasons of 40 episodes. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime and Max. Another true crime show with interesting stories, made even better by many people's perspectives. They did a great casting job finding actors that resemble the actual people. I've always had respect for the job police and detectives do, but I have a newfound admiration for the dedication of the cold case investigators. I can't imagine diving into a 25-year-old case and essentially start from scratch to solve a crime nobody else could. The only dislike I have is a lot of text narration. Definitely worth a watch, and the stories were so engaging that time flew by. A 1-hour episode didn't feel that long. Number 5. I Survived. Beyond and Back. Survivors of near-fatal experiences who return to life after being pronounced dead share their stories of what they saw on the other side. There are multiple stories per episode, typically 2 or 3, told by the survivors with occasional reenactments and text narration. I Survived, Beyond and Back originally aired on A&E, starting in 2011 for 3 seasons of 21 episodes. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, Hulu, Tubi, and the Roku channel. The experiences shared in this show are incredibly touching and worth watching. Whether or not you believe the spiritual side of the stories, there is something inspiring about listening to these people talk about how they overcame traumatic, life-or-death situations. Compared to shows about UFOs, creature sightings, and paranormal activity, this show is much more factual. The fact that these people died and came back to life is a fact. What happened while they were deceased, only they know. But the facts make these traumatic events terrifying. Text narration is a big distraction. They also should tell each story to its conclusion, then move on to the next. Flipping back and forth between stories is annoying. This is a very good and inspiring show. The traumatic events that happen to these survivors are horrifying, but their strength and resilience to survive make this a recommended watch. Number 4. These Woods Are Haunted. In These Woods Are Haunted, the great outdoors aren't always so great. In fact, the woods are filled with mysteries that sometimes can't be explained. These are the true accounts of people who ventured deep into the forest, only to come out screaming with stories that defy reality. The stories are told by the actual people involved and accompanied by cinematic reenactments with text narration. These Woods Are Haunted aired from 2017 to 2022 on Travel Channel. There were 3 seasons of 39 episodes. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Fubo TV, Google Play, Hulu, Max, Pluto, the Roku Channel, Sling TV, and Fandango at home. The show has good cinematography and is a good-looking show. They did a good job casting actors that look very much like the real people involved. Some episodes have one very detailed story, and some have 2 shorter, more basic stories. I like that they put 2 short stories together, rather than stretching those stories out to fill an hour-long episode. My only dislike is that being a show about strange encounters in the woods, there are, of course, quite a few Bigfoot stories. This is just a personal issue, as those stories don't interest me much. For Sasquatch fans, you would love this show. I enjoyed this series, and will most likely re-watch some of my favorite episodes again. Number 3. Paranormal Witness. Paranormal Witness is an American paranormal documentary TV series made by a British production company and is described as true tales of supernatural hauntings and explanation-defying paranormal experiences, which are brought to life through recreations. The series premiered on September 7, 2011 on Sci-Fi Channel. Beginning with Season 4, the show was renamed Paranormal Witness: True Terror. Eyewitnesses, along with friends, family members, police officers, and detectives, tell their stories, which are accompanied by reenactments and voice narration. There are 2 stories per episode. One longer, more involved story, followed by a shorter, more basic story. Paranormal Witness aired 5 seasons of 64 episodes. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, Bravo Now, E! Now, NBC, Peacock, Sci-Fi Now, and Telemundo Now. The diversity of the stories keeps this show fresh and interesting. Many of the stories have multiple eyewitnesses, all telling their side of the event, lending to the credibility of the story. The cinematography and acting quality are also very good. There's not really much to dislike about this show. I had a number of people recommend this show, and I'm so glad I checked it out. It's a great show that I'll revisit again for sure. Number 2. A Haunting. A Haunting is an American paranormal drama anthology series that depicts eyewitness accounts of alleged possessions, exorcisms, and ghostly encounters. The show features various accounts of alleged paranormal experiences at reportedly haunted and mostly residential locations. The stories are told using a good mix of cinematic reenactments, accompanied by commentary from eyewitnesses and investigators, as well as voice narration. A Haunting originally aired on Discovery Channel for seasons 1 through 4, then moved to Destination America for seasons 5 through 8, TLC for season 9, And finally, Travel Channel for seasons 10 through 11. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, Destination Unknown, Discovery, Max, Pluto TV, and the Roku channel. The seasons available vary by streaming service, but at this time, the Roku channel is the only one with all 11 seasons for free. Seasons 1 through 7 are also available on DVD. This show has good cinematography with well-shot scenes and good acting. You also get a good amount of commentary and details from the eyewitnesses. There's also a nice variety of storylines and locations. Some facts are skewed for added drama. I've seen a few examples where I knew some facts that were exaggerated for added drama. The production value and acting decreased a bit in later seasons as this show changed ownership several times. A Haunting is one of my favorites, and with so many episodes in the series, I know I will loop back and rewatch many of these episodes. And finally, at number 1, A Ghost Ruined My Life. A Ghost Ruined My Life is director Eli Roth's show about shocking true stories of hauntings that have left emotional and sometimes physical scars on those unlucky enough to have experienced them. Roth exposes the real-life horror of paranormal survivors dragged through hell and back as they struggle to rebuild their shattered lives. The stories are told through dramatic reenactments, with occasional story details by the actual people involved, as well as text narration. A Ghost Ruined My Life began airing on Travel Channel in 2021 and is currently in Season 3. It has aired 18 episodes so far. It's also streaming on Philo, Discovery Plus, Fubo TV, Max, YouTube, Hulu, Sling TV, the Roku channel, Amazon Prime Video, Google Play Movies and TV, Apple TV, Fandango at Home, and Travel Channel Go. The show is also available as a podcast. This show has a higher production budget than most, and the acting is quite good. Each episode feels like a mini-movie. The people telling their stories definitely show some real emotion as they recall the terrifying events that affected them and their family. The stories are intense and have long-lasting effects on the people involved. The only dislike I have is the text narration. I'm just not a fan. I like to pay attention to the action, not read the screen. I enjoyed every episode of this series and will definitely rewatch them again. I'm sure Eli Roth's involvement helped get a bigger budget, which led to better sets, better directing, and better acting. So there you have my top 10 horror reality TV shows. Let me know in the comments if you've seen any of these shows and what you thought of them. And if you have a show you like that's not on my list, let me know. I'd love to check it out. Of course, as always, the best way to watch a horror reality show is alone in the dark.